February 1989. A birthday party in Richmond. The guest list included aristocrats, socialites, and 2 women who shared the same man. Princess Diana and Camilla Parker Bowles were in the same room for the first time since Diana had discovered the affair. What happened next would become one of the most talked about confrontations in royal history. But what was truly shocking wasn't that Diana confronted her husband's mistress. It was what she said. To understand this moment, you need to understand what led to it. For 8 years, Diana had lived with the knowledge that her husband loved another woman. For 8 years, she had smiled for cameras while dying inside. For 8 years, she had been told she was paranoid, jealous, unstable. But Diana wasn't crazy. She was right. Charles had never stopped loving Camilla. And on this night in February 1989, Diana decided she was done pretending. The party was for Camilla's sister's 40th birthday. Diana wasn't supposed to be there. She hadn't been invited. But she knew Charles would attend. She knew Camilla would be there. And she had made a decision. She was going to confront them, both of them. No more hiding, no more pretending, no more being the innocent fool while they carried on their affair behind her back. Diana spent hours preparing for the party. Not her outfit, though she looked stunning in a green dress. She was preparing mentally, rehearsing what she would say, how she would say it. She knew this confrontation would define her. Either she would look like a hysterical wife, or she would look like a woman finally standing up for herself. Everything depended on how she handled the next few hours. Charles was already at the party when Diana arrived. He was shocked to see her. "What are you doing here?" Diana smiled sweetly. "It's a party. I thought I'd come." Charles looked panicked. He knew what this meant. Diana knew about Camilla. She'd always known, but she'd never confronted Camilla directly. Now she was here, in the same room, and Charles couldn't stop what was about to happen. Diana moved through the party with purpose. She made small talk. She smiled at guests. She acted like everything was normal. But she was hunting, looking for Camilla. Finally, she spotted her. Camilla Parker Bowles, the woman who had destroyed her marriage, the woman Charles truly loved, the woman who had haunted Diana's life for 8 years. They made eye contact across the room. Camilla's face went pale. She knew. She knew Diana had come for her. Diana walked straight towards Camilla. No hesitation. No fear. Guests noticed and conversations stopped. Everyone could feel the tension. This was going to be a scene. Diana reached Camilla and said loud enough for nearby guests to hear, "Camilla, I'd like to have a word with you." Camilla tried to smile. "Of course, Diana. Perhaps somewhere more private." Diana shook her head. "Number. Right here is fine." But then Diana changed her mind. She noticed people staring, listening. This conversation was too important to become gossip fodder. So she said, "Actually, let's go somewhere quieter." Camilla had no choice. She followed Diana to a small sitting room away from the main party. 2 other women followed at a distance, curious, concerned. They would later report what they overheard. Diana closed the door. For a moment, the 2 women just looked at each other. Diana, 27 years old, young, beautiful, the Princess of Wales. Camilla, 41 years old, not conventionally beautiful, but confident, secure in Charles's love. They were rivals, enemies. 2 women destroyed by the same man's inability to choose. Diana spoke first. "I know what's going on between you and Charles. Camilla tried to play innocent. I don't know what you mean." Diana's voice was steel. Don't insult my intelligence. I've known for years. The phone calls, the gifts, the weekends you spend together. I know everything. Camilla's face changed. The pretense dropped. Fine. You know. What do you want me to say? Diana took a breath. This was the moment she'd been preparing for. I want you to know that I'm not going away. I'm his wife. I'm the mother of his children. I'm the future queen. And I'm not going to just disappear so you two can be together. Camilla laughed. A bitter sound. Diana, be realistic. Charles and I have loved each other for decades. Long before you came along, you were just the broodmare, the suitable bride. But his heart has always been mine. The words hit Diana like a physical blow. But she didn't cry. She didn't scream. Instead, she said something that would haunt Camilla for years. You've got everything you ever wanted. You've got all the men in the world falling in love with you. And you've got 2 beautiful children. What more could you want? Camilla looked confused. Diana continued, but there were 3 of us in this marriage. So it was a bit crowded. Camilla tried to defend herself. I never asked for this. Charles pursued me. He's the one who couldn't let go. Diana shook her head. You could have said no. You could have respected his marriage. You could have let him try to love me. But you didn't. You kept your hooks in him. You made sure he could never fully be my husband. Camilla's expression hardened. He doesn't love you, Diana. He never did. He married you because he had to, because you were young and suitable and virginal, but love? Number. He's incapable of loving you because he loves me. Diana felt tears threatening but forced them back. Maybe you're right. Maybe he doesn't love me. But I love him. I've tried everything to make him happy. I've given him 2 sons. I've fulfilled every royal duty perfectly. I've smiled through years of humiliation. And what have you given him? Secrecy. Shame. The label of adulterer. Is that love? Camilla had no answer. The silence stretched between them. Finally, Diana said, I came here tonight to look you in the eye, to see the woman who destroyed my marriage. And you know what I see? Someone deeply unhappy. Because no matter how much Charles loves you, he'll never leave me. He can't. He's the heir to the throne. He needs a proper wife, a proper family. You'll always be the mistress, the secret, the shame. Is that really what you want for the rest of your life? Camilla's composure cracked. You don't understand. You're just a girl. You don't understand real love. Charles and I have history, connection, understanding. What you have with him is just a role you're playing. Diana's voice dropped to a whisper. You're right. I don't understand your kind of love. The kind that destroys families. The kind that makes a man betray his wife and children. The kind that makes a woman sleep with a married man. No, I don't understand that. And I hope I never do. Camilla tried one more time. Diana, you could make this easier on everyone if you just accepted the situation. Charles and I could be together. You could have your independence. We could all move forward. Diana looked at her in disbelief. You want me to give my blessing to your affair? You want me to just step aside so you can have my husband officially? Camilla nodded. It would be better for everyone. Including you. Diana laughed. A harsh, painful sound. You really believe that, don't you? You really think I should just surrender? Give up my marriage? Let you win? Well, here's what I think. I think you're delusional. I think Charles is weak. And I think this situation is destroying all of us. But I'm not going to make it easy for you. If you want him, you'll have to wait until he's free. And I'm not setting him free. anytime soon. The conversation ended there. Diana opened the door and walked out, her head held high, her eyes dry. She had said what she came to say. She had looked her rival in the eye. She had stood her ground. Camilla remained in the room for several minutes, shaken. The guests who had been listening from the hallway quickly dispersed, but the story would leak. Within days, everyone in London's society knew. Diana had confronted Camilla, and she had won. Charles was furious when he found out. "How dare you make a scene? How dare you embarrass me?" Diana's response was cold. "I embarrassed you? You've been humiliating me for 8 years. Having an affair, lying to me, making me look like a fool. But I'm the one who's embarrassed you?" Charles had no answer, because Diana was right. He had humiliated her, repeatedly, continuously, without remorse. The confrontation changed something in Diana. She had spent 8 years being the victim, the wronged wife, the poor princess trapped in a loveless marriage. But after that night, she started to fight back. She gave interviews. She worked with Andrew Morton on her tell-all book. She began to control her own narrative. Diana had discovered something important that night. She had power, and she was going to use it. Camilla, for her part, was rattled by the confrontation. She had expected Diana to cry, to plead, to be weak. Instead, Diana had been strong, articulate, devastating. Camilla realized that Diana wasn't going to just fade away, wasn't going to make this easy. If Camilla wanted Charles, it was going to be a battle, and Diana was a formidable opponent. The relationship between Charles and Camilla became more complicated after the confrontation. Charles felt guilty, not enough to end the affair, but enough to be more careful, more discreet. Camilla felt exposed, vulnerable. Diana had stripped away the pretense, had forced everyone to acknowledge what was happening. There was no more hiding, no more pretending. The affair was out in the open. Diana's friends were divided on whether the confrontation was wise. Some thought it was brave, finally standing up to the woman who had destroyed her marriage. Others thought it was dangerous, that it would make Charles more sympathetic to Camilla, that it would push him further away. But Diana didn't care. She had done what she needed to do, for herself, for her sanity, for her self-respect. In the years that followed, the dynamic between the three of them continued to evolve. Diana became more public about her unhappiness, the bulimia, the suicide attempts, the loneliness. She wanted the world to know she wasn't the problem. The marriage was the problem. Charles's inability to let go of Camilla was the problem. And slowly, public opinion shifted. People began to see Diana as the victim, Charles as the villain, and Camilla as the homewrecker. By 1992, the marriage was effectively over. Diana and Charles separated. The press called it the War of the Waleses. Both sides leaked stories. Both sides tried to control the narrative. But Diana had the advantage. She was sympathetic, young, beautiful, a devoted mother. Charles looked old, stuffy, unfaithful, and Camilla became the most hated woman in Britain. All because Diana had decided to fight back. The confrontation at that birthday party in 1989 was the beginning of Diana's transformation. From victim to fighter. From silent sufferer to vocal advocate for herself. She learned that night that she didn't have to accept the situation, didn't have to just endure. She could confront, she could challenge, she could refuse to be bullied or ignored. That lesson would shape the rest of her life. When Diana died in 1997, Camilla was devastated. Not just because of the tragedy, but because she knew what would happen. The world would blame her. The woman who broke up Charles and Diana's marriage, the reason Diana was unhappy, the villain of the story. And Camilla was right. For years after Diana's death, she was vilified, called a murderer, accused of driving Diana to her death. The confrontation from 1989 was replayed endlessly. Diana standing up to Camilla. Diana refusing to be intimidated. Diana showing courage in the face of betrayal. It would take decades for public opinion on Camilla to soften, for people to accept that Charles loved her, that maybe in a different world they could have been together from the start, that maybe the real villain was the system that forced Charles to marry someone suitable instead of someone he loved. But even now in 2025, there are people who will never forgive Camilla, who see her as the woman who destroyed Diana's happiness. Charles and Camilla did eventually marry. In 2005, 8 years after Diana's death. It was a small ceremony, civil, not religious. Camilla took the title Duchess of Cornwall, not Princess of Wales. That title still belonged to Diana in the public's mind. When Charles becomes king, Camilla will technically be queen, but the palace has suggested she might be called queen consort instead. Even in victory, Camilla lives in Diana's shadow. Looking back, that confrontation in 1989 reveals so much about all three people involved. Diana finding her courage, learning to fight for herself, refusing to be a victim. Camilla secure in Charles's love but realizing that love came with a price, that she would always be the other woman, the scandal, the shame. And Charles caught between two women, unable or unwilling to choose, hurting both of them with his indecision. The tragedy is that they were all trapped. Diana trapped in a marriage to a man who didn't love her. Camilla trapped in a relationship that could never be public. Charles trapped by duty and expectation. The system that required him to marry for breeding, not love, destroyed all three of them. Diana most of all, because she was the youngest, the most vulnerable, the one with the most to lose. But in that moment in February 1989, Diana wasn't vulnerable. She was powerful. Standing in that room, facing the woman who had haunted her marriage, Diana spoke her truth. She refused to be silent, refused to be dismissed, refused to pretend anymore. And in doing so, she took back some of her power, some of her agency, some of her self-respect. The women who overheard the confrontation said later that they had never seen Diana like that. So strong, so articulate, so clear about what she wanted to say. One of them said, "Diana went into that room as a wronged wife. She came out as a warrior." Something had changed in her. She had stopped being afraid. The confrontation wasn't just about Camilla. It was about Diana claiming her voice, her right to be heard, her refusal to suffer in silence anymore. In the years since Diana's death, there have been many retellings of this confrontation. Books, documentaries, dramatizations, each version slightly different. Some portray Diana as aggressive, others as dignified. Some portray Camilla as cruel, others as defensive. The truth probably lies somewhere in between. Two women, both hurt by the same situation, having a conversation that needed to happen. Neither villain nor hero, just two people trapped in an impossible situation. What we know for certain is that Diana felt better after the confrontation. She had looked her rival in the eye. She had said what needed to be said. She had stood her ground. Whether it changed anything practically is debatable. Charles didn't leave Camilla. The affair continued. But something changed for Diana. She had found her courage, and she would need it for the battles ahead. Prince William and Prince Harry have never publicly discussed their mother's confrontation with Camilla. But their relationship with their stepmother has been complicated. William eventually made peace with Camilla, accepted her as his father's wife, but Harry struggled. In his memoir, he described Camilla as dangerous, someone who would sacrifice anyone for good press, someone who leaked stories about other royals to improve her own image. Harry's anger at Camilla is in many ways an echo of his mother's pain. The confrontation between Diana and Camilla represents something larger than just a love triangle. It represents a woman finding her voice, fighting back against a system designed to silence her, refusing to play the role assigned to her. Diana was supposed to be the dutiful wife, the quiet princess, the one who accepted her husband's infidelity with grace. But Diana refused. She confronted, she challenged, she spoke out. And in doing so, she changed what it meant to be a royal woman. Today, when we look back at that February night in 1989, we see the moment Diana stopped being a victim, the moment she decided to fight, the moment she walked into a room and faced the woman who had destroyed her marriage and said, "I see you, I know what you've done, and I'm not going away." That courage, that refusal to be silenced, is Diana's real legacy. Not the fairy tale wedding, not the glamorous photos, but the moment she stood up and said, "Enough." From Diana's diary written the night of the confrontation, "Tonight I did something I've been too afraid to do for 8 years. I looked her in the eye, the woman Charles loves, the woman he's always loved. And I told her the truth, that I know, that I've always known, that I'm not going away. I don't know if it changes anything. Probably not. Charles will keep seeing her. They'll keep their affair. But at least I said it. At least I stood up for myself. For once in this nightmare of a marriage, I didn't just smile and pretend. I fought back. And it felt good. For the first time in years, I felt powerful. Like I matter. Like I'm more than just Charles's wife or William and Harry's mother. I'm Diana, and I deserve better than this." The final image in our story is not from the confrontation itself. No cameras were present. No photos exist. The final image is from weeks later. Diana at a public engagement, smiling, confident, holding her head high. She looks different somehow, stronger, more sure of herself, because she had faced her fear, had confronted her rival, had claimed her voice. The confrontation changed Diana, not externally, but inside, where it mattered. She had learned that she could fight, could stand up for herself, could refuse to be a victim. That lesson would carry her through the difficult years ahead, until that terrible night in Paris, when her voice was silenced forever. But for a time, Diana had her power, and she used it well.